I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast. And this is a kind of behind the scenes training. Don't know if it's really for young men or if it's just, for everybody, learning how to be a thinker. Like a lot of times, honestly, we're just lazy, just are. And so, um, and so how do you help somebody not be lazy in how they think? And so, you'd think that the analytic personality would not be lazy as it relates to details because details are so important to them. But they don't see the big picture. And so let's just, I guess, dive into case study here on an email sent to Adam. This is as it relates to AE Video Friday reports. And so one is congratulations, good work, Adam, on getting this report out to us. And so this is awesome. And now, what's my biggest concern, Adam?
How many videos we can create before month ending
Okay,
to get to 100%.
okay. So Adam said, how many videos by the end of the month are needed? That's a concern. That's an awareness. Do you know what the difference between a symptom and the core is?
Uh, Symptom is at the moment and core when you apply it by seeing your previous problems, or you just do it in a way uh, you learn from your mistakes and apply it yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, perfect. So a symptom is you solve a symptom. Let's say you have dandelions growing in your yard, and let's say you think that's a problem. So how to fix them? You just mow the dandelions, problem solved. No, that's a symptom solved. They're just going to grow back up. You got to get it to the root. So symptom is, it's the surface. A core is at the root, at the heart, and if you solve a core, it fixes it. You don't have to keep dealing with the issue. And so
Mhm.
that's what we're trying to do. That's why we're shooting this video or this podcast, is because I'm hoping to get to the core on people with people. And so my biggest concern is, like Adam thinks my biggest concern is, how many videos do we need to have in AI by the end of the month? So he said 6. And so I know, okay, until I train somebody else in how to produce the content for the video, until I do that, that's on me. I need to do that. And so I need to know, okay, what 6 videos do we need to produce? Okay. But the core is, on this, I mean, one core issue is the weekly report. Is it going to come every Friday? And that's my concern is, it's going to start. And as long as I put pressure on it, it's going to happen. But it's not going to happen without me putting pressure on it, because you're not connecting. Mary Jo is not connecting this into the consistency of the report. She's not. You guys aren't connecting that in to how important it is. Now, beyond that core, there's another core, and that is we're investing a fair amount of money into this. And so we've got to get an ROI. We've got to get a return on investment. So these videos, are they making us any money? Are they generating revenue for us? And so that's beyond even the Friday report. But the consistency on the report will help us if you and Mary Jo and other people take it. If you, Mary Jo, and other people take it, and take what I'm teaching, coaching, mentoring, then you at some point will be able to go ahead and turn this into money, which means you all will make more money. So if you're not concerned about your work turning into money, it probably won't. And you're probably not going to make much more money. You might not even continue making what you are making. So let's go ahead and, that's where the big and small, maybe this will be a case study for big and small. When you look at like Google Earth, big is you go up into the air, up into the atmosphere, and you look at the Earth and it looks like a marble. That's big. And then small is you get down into the smallest detail. So, I remember Lou Costabile, where I told him he's a friend of mine for a few decades. And I told him, I said, Lou, I'm never talking about what I'm talking about. He thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And he just started laughing and he says, you wonder, Mark, why, people get confused by you and you're never talking about what you're talking about. My social autism kicked in and I'm like, I mean, like often that's everybody. Like we're not clear on what in communication, which goes back to clear communications. So, this could be a case study for clear communications too. So a lot of times people focus in on the small when they should be looking at the big, or they look at the big when they should be looking at the small. And you've got to have the ability to go big or go small. Like that's what you need to do. And so if you're watching this podcast and you're like, well, I don't understand about AI videos, it's not really about AI videos. It's about communications. It's about work ethic. It's about discipline. It's about big and small. It's about all of those type of things. So, I sent Adam, a request to find out, and he did a great job on, so there's a total video count. That's good. And so right beside that, it would have been said, estimated or, videos per month that we can do, which is 18. Now, my guess is it's going to depend. There's a range. It's not going to be 18. I don't know. I've never done this before. But I take and I look at my life and I say, well, you've done other things. So there's probably a range. It's probably between 14 and 20. So let's say it's 18. I mean, I don't know. And it's okay not to know, but we have to have it in here. Does that make sense, Adam?
Yes,
Okay. So that would have been
because
better.
every video.
So
Yes,
that would
sir.
have been
Yes.
better if you just said estimated videos right here, total completed, and then here, good, great work on this. I haven't even looked at this, and I don't know if I'm going to, but you need this report for yourself. So you can say, how many videos did we do, in January? How many videos did we do in February? How many did we do in March? And what percentage of usage? And
Right.
so here we have totally used 32 minutes. Total time is 52 minutes. I like to use percentages. So I would go ahead and
Okay.
just take 32 divided by, 50, and that would come up with, 64%. So
Hmm.
we have 36% less of the videos or so I'm trying to make when I do this stuff, I'm trying to make whoever is reading this, this report, whoever's reading this report, like I want to highlight, I might, okay, we need, we have 6 more videos. So I'm looking at how do I go ahead and for the people around me, how do I make their life as easy as possible? You know, that's that's my job is to make their lives as easy as possible. And so then I go through and say, okay, and then storage used is 6.48 total storage. So this right here, if we use 10 gigabytes, if we're at 64%, well, we're going to use 10 gigabytes, a month, I'm guessing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
again, the point isn't, this is where the analytic personality gets all tripped up. They all get gonky on me. They're like, well, I don't know. Well, just surmise it. Just, like in middle school science, which I didn't really like so much, didn't like most topics, but there's things you can learn in science. It's a hypothesis. It's an educated guess. It's like, okay, I'm going to guess at this. And every month, if we're tracking this, every month we're going to get bigger, better. So I don't know. Is this something, do we know what this is? Like, are we locked into, can we take this off? Like, is this something where once we take it, like, are we running it on their servers or something?
Uh, it might be.
So so like that to me is just kind of like common sense. It's like when I said know every detail, I'm like, every detail. So if we're using their storage, well, what happens when we get above 100, gigabytes? What do we do then? And are we locked in like on the QR codes and stuff like that? So like people have to learn to think, big picture. It's like, well, like what are we? So it's like we need to know this stuff, but laziness, you know, like what's the difference between ignorant and stupid? Ignorant is not knowing what to do. Stupid is not doing what we know. And so here we have something. Again, if you're watching this video and you said, I don't understand gigabytes, I don't understand this, that point isn't the gigabytes. It's not the point. The point is when somebody says, hey, you need to know every piece of it, every element, well, guess what? If you don't know what it is, then you need to learn it. You need to ask questions. So I can't tell you how frustrating it is for me when I give somebody something to do and I come back and I have to follow up on them. It just irritates me to no end. I mean, I don't really allow my children when they were little children to do that. Like dad gives you direction, he expects you to do this. My grandkids, the same thing. And they're like 3 years old, like 4. But adults, it's just weird to me. So I go back and I have to follow up. That irritates me. Like if I give somebody something to do, then I expect them to do it. Like now, if they run into a problem, I can't even tell you how many times they say, well, I didn't know what to do. Well, when you don't know what to do, what do? You ask questions, but they don't ask questions. It's like, so if you're not sure what an element means, a piece, like if you don't know what this is, like Mark, I have some concerns about this. Well, okay, can you research it? Find out what this is going to do. What kind of costs is LMI going to incur? How does this whole thing work? And so, on Zoom, for example, you can save it to the cloud and you have cloud storage, but you can download it down to a local computer. So I'm guessing we could download it to a local computer, but technology companies, they're shifty. Like they want to get you locked in where you have to work with them forever. So do we have to go ahead? Like what happens to this? What's the licensing? All kinds of stuff. Questions on that, Adam?
No, you're right. This is something like Zoom, where you have a cloud videos, but you can download it.
So we need to make sure that's the case. Like we need to make sure that's the case. We need to make sure because there's, whatever we're paying for the AI, whatever we're paying for whatever, the people costs are infinitely more, like a lot more. And so we need to make sure that we're not losing stuff, that we're using stuff that we need to use. Okay. So here, Then we have we have, the frames. Now, does this reset every month? I'm assuming it does, but I don't
Yep.
know. Okay. So what I would do is I would even organize this to where this is kind of permanent. Okay. This is monthly. This is monthly. Problem again, and so I would move that up and then I might do a percentage. And so we're using 64% of the, time. Well, that's different than the videos. And so we're only using, what is that? You know, so that's where percentages come in handy. People don't use percentages. And when you use percentages, it's really cool. It's like, okay, so here we're using, I don't know, it's maybe 35%. What does this mean? Well, I don't know. iStock. And so this is the frame, this is the video frames. And so we're using this. And so I don't know, like, my guess is it's how many video clips that we're using. And if we use one video clip more than once, it doesn't count more than once, probably. It counts as once. So we are having a problem with, where sometimes the video clips are used too much. I don't know. And then generating credits used total. What's this mean?
Okay, so generative credit means that AI will create a, a video, a clip, and it will count as generative credits. Other videos are from iStock or from any other platform that it will pick up, but generative credit, AI will create any clip
Okay. Oh, I'm
according
not
to
sure
the
I
script or
understood that.
situation.
And I don't know if I need to actually. So as a leader, I'm always like Albert Einstein, had, 7 suits and they were all black, all the same thing. So he didn't have to use his mental energy to go ahead and um, he didn't have to use his mental energy to decide what suit. I like that. My understanding is Albert Einstein. So the guy's like a famous scientist. Like he's just crazy on how much he created, invented, discovered, all this kind of stuff. And so, the analytic often wants to know everything. If you're a leader and you're an analytic, you want to know everything. Trust me, I understand like I'm equal analytic driver, but what I've learned is I've got to trust other people. So I've got to trust Adam and Mary Jo and Elaine and everybody. But to do that, I've got to train them to think differently because what I know is the educational system all around the world is not training them to learn to think on their own. It's just not. It's training people to become dependent. I can't afford to have dependent people. I need people who are independent. And so I don't want to know anything more than what I need to know, like Einstein. I want Adam and Mary Jo to go ahead and run this, own this, control this, dominate this, be responsible for this. I want Adam to be able to come back and say to Life Masteries Institute, hey, I think based on these numbers, financial numbers, I think I'm generating, enough revenue to where I'd like to go ahead and, have bonus pay based on the revenue that I'm making. Where it's concrete, it's not like I'm worth more. Why are you worth more? Well, just because I am. Well, okay. But does that impact the bottom line? If it's impacting the bottom line, like you're well, that seems like a lot of work, Mark. Okay, well, it seems like you might not want to earn more. So this here, like this here is, I don't know, 4%, 3.5% here. So we've got a 64% here. We've got a 35% here, let's say. Again, if you use percentages, you can visually see. So it might be Like we've got to, are we using 100% of this, 100% of this, 100% of this? Probably not. But where are we? Any one of these might cap us out and we then run out. And so we've got to try to use them as much as what it is. Questions on that, Adam?
Hello.
So again, here, 18 minutes are left. If you go ahead and just work a little harder, don't be lazy mentally, work a little harder and say the average number of minutes is 2.5 minutes. Or if you say 3 minutes, whatever, you say 18 minutes are left. So we have 6 more videos. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Often the analytic doesn't do a good job. They're afraid to lock it down because they're afraid of making a mistake. A bunch of fear. The amiable is afraid of disappointing somebody, and so they don't go ahead and do everything they could do, and they disappoint. The very thing they're trying to go away from, that's Kung Fu Panda 2. The very thing we're afraid of is the very thing that has happened because of our fear. So good work on this, Adam. Good work on the report. If you ever think that the report isn't needed, so the report is mostly for who, Adam? The benefit of the report is mostly for who?
The one who is creating or using.
Yeah. And with the report, you're going to have data.
Mhm.
And that data, you need to study that data. And the purpose of the data is what?
Um, is to know where we are or uh, and how will we will get the 100% potential and a bigger picture, how do we get ROI from it.
So that's exactly right. So Adam, what he did is this was like a piece of art. Like this is just brilliant. He's like, we need to know the data. We need to study the data, and then we need to make decisions on what to do with that data to go ahead and give us a stronger ROI, more financial revenue, more financial profit. Top line in a business is sales. Bottom line in a business is profit. Often when the top line goes up, the bottom line should go up too, but it might not. It might actually go down. So you got to move both of them up. The profit, the bottom line, that's what the owner of the company is going to walk away from. Like, would you rather go ahead and do $1 million in sales and walk away with $100,000 in profit? Or would you rather do $500,000 in sales, half the amount of sales and 200,000 in profit? You'd rather do, in almost every situation, the profit, the bottom line. The profit is the cost of the business. So this has been a great, lesson, and I can't wait for people to see what you take away, especially if you're not in technology. Like if you see the big picture, it's like Mark's not talking about technology. He's talking about consistency of daily or weekly reports. He's talking about when you have a daily, weekly, or monthly report, whatever that consistency is. And daily reports are the easiest to do because it's every day. Weekly reports are harder because you're like, okay, you're not doing it every day, so you got to be more disciplined, time block it. Monthly reports are harder than weekly, harder than daily reports. Now, when you get a report, you've got to look at the data and say, what is the data telling me? It's a story. You can think of it as a young child, like my grandkids, and like my Mikey, who's 2 years old, our grandson who's 2 years old, and he can't talk yet. So I can't understand, but he has a story. He wants something from grandpa. He needs something. He wants a drink or food or a toy, or he's hurting or something like that. So I've got to listen to him, and it's not like he doesn't know how to talk yet. And so what are the words that he's using? The data is telling you a story. The story of that data is telling you, if you respect and honor that story and listen to that story and and then go ahead and say, once I see the data, how do I need to change my behavior, my actions, or somebody else's behavior and action, or what we're doing as a company? So we need to change. We need to look at it. We need to do something more, do something less, do something different. So we need to do something with the data. We have to do something with the data. And then when we do something different with the data, then we have to look at the data. Did what we change actually improve the bottom line? And you're looking at sales. Every business is going to have sales. Every business is going to have expenses. And what you're looking at is the bottom line profit. This is how team members can make employees. This is how team members can make more money. It's not just sales that makes, like, that generates more dollars, but what bottom line profit? If there's not bottom line profit, if there's not more of that, people can't make more money. They just can't. This is how it works. So great work, Adam. Excited to go ahead and see this one posted and see it put in the right place in the podcast library and see lots of people learning and growing from that. That's going to be really, really cool. So have a blessed day, Adam.
Yeah.
Okay.